Here's a long, emotional story inspired by the title, He Was They. Structured so it can work well in about a 15-minute YouTube video. Let me know if you want it localized, e.g. to Pakistan, or language mix. He was the one everyone believed would be strong. He was the hero in their pictures, the steady hand in their memories. But when the world expected him to carry on without cracking, he discovered that even heroes can break, and sometimes, breaking is the beginning of real repair. Ethan Clark had always been the one. Since childhood, people said, he's responsible. He takes care of everyone. You can lean on him. He was the eldest son of two loving parents, with two younger sisters, Emma and Sarah. Their mother, Lena, taught piano. Their father, James, ran a small carpentry business. Ethan learned early what it meant to sacrifice, skipping his own passions so his sisters could have theirs, staying up late to help his dad with work, holding everyone's hopes even when his own heart felt heavy. When Ethan was 22, their lives shifted. A car accident killed Lena, their mother. James was badly injured, bedridden for months. The business slowed. Sarah, 14, sank into depression. Emma, 11, blamed herself. Ethan dropped out of university, took over the workshop, working from dawn to dusk. His own dreams of being an artist, painting, traveling, were packed away, hidden in sketchbooks no one saw. There's work to do, Ethan would say, voice hollow, eyes tired. And for a long time, everyone believed in his strength, even he believed it. Challenge 1. The weight of expectations. In the first few months after the accident, Ethan bore the brunt of everything. He remodeled the house to make his father comfortable, handled the finances, worked in the shop, tried to be not just a son but a parent, a provider. Emma needed help with homework. Sarah needed someone to talk to about loss. Ethan rarely slept more than 5 hours. He refused help. He believed he could carry it all. But carrying everything changed him. He looked decades older. Mornings he woke with aches. At night, he saw his mother in dreams, then jolted awake. He pushed his sisters to perform well in school, what he thought Lena would have wanted. But Sarah rebelled, cut classes, stayed out too late. Emma withdrew. James, recovering, saw Ethan suffering, but Ethan waved it off. I'm managing, he said. But managing felt like drowning. Challenge 2. Isolation and the disappearing self. The more Ethan poured into everyone else, the more he lost contact with himself. His art supplies sat dusty. The dreams he once whispered aloud in his journal faded into blank pages. He had no friends visiting. He turned down invitations. He thought, others have suffered worse. At least they still have their families intact. Guilt told him he didn't deserve rest, didn't deserve happiness. He slept in the workshop sometimes, having no space to just be. Farah said, you're not broken. Your body changed, but your worth never did. She taught Lila stories of others who had built art, music, careers, love, friendship, even from wheelchairs. She showed her accessible sports, painting with mouth and brush, spoken word poetry, writing. She introduced Lila to a group of young people who used wheelchairs or crutches, or braces, some visible, some invisible scars. They traded stories, jokes, tears. For the first time, Lila saw a horizon she hadn't seen before, a life beyond hoping to walk again. A life she could build right here. Challenge, external and internal fights. But the road wasn't easy. There were days when Lila hated herself, when she didn't want to try, when therapy got exhausting. Her body ached. Her mood sank. Friends didn't understand when she said, I need space. Teachers pitted too much. Strangers stared. Sometimes, her own father's encouragement felt like pressure. And finances were tight. Therapies cost. Home modifications cost. Sometimes Cameron had to choose between paying for a physical therapist or paying the electricity bill. Usman felt guilty, thinking maybe if he worked more at school he could somehow help, but he was too young. Also, Cameron's pride got in the way. He kept promising doctors just one more chance, but Farah's counsel was that true healing might not be returning to old shape, but making peace with the new one. This caused friction. Cameron would resist Farah's suggestions. thinking it meant giving up. Lila would get caught in the middle, hope fighting with despair, resolution, strength, acceptance, and action. The turning moment came during the school's annual talent show. Lila had signed up against. Her father's quietly voiced objections, decided to tell a story instead of performing a dance. She worried she'd fail, that people would mock. Usman helped her rehearse in their backyard, evenings after therapy, when mosquitoes buzzed and the mango tree lit by moonlight. On the night of the show, the stage lights were harsh. Lila wheeled to the center, heartbeat loud in her ears. She looked out, classmates, teachers, parents. Her final message: hope you carry forward. Lila's story is a testament to something we all need to remember. That being changed doesn't mean being less. That the world often overlooks what's different, but every human heart longs to be seen, heard, connected. The things we face, physical pain, loss, shame, fear, are part of many lives. But so are love, compassion, courage, connection. No matter what has changed in your body, in your situation, in your relationships, you are still whole. And sometimes, when the world seems to have quieted for you, that's when you find your own voice, your own rhythm. You begin again, not as who you were before, but as who you're becoming. So if you're listening, you are seen. You are valued. Your journey, however painful, is not wasted. Let others' kindness reach you. And when you're able, shine it back. Because you're light. Here's an emotional story inspired by your prompt. Hope it works well for a 15-minute YouTube narration. If you want, I can adjust characters or setting to your preference. Hook. They said she was broken. They said her life would never be the same. But when everyone turned away, she discovered what it truly means to rise, that's sometimes the greatest. Strength comes from the people we almost never notice. Lila Hassan was 16 when the accident happened. One rainy evening, a car lost control. Lila's father, Cameron, and her younger brother, Usman, survived with bruises and shock. But Lila, the doctors said her spinal cord was damaged, in a way that would leave her paralyzed from the waist down. A lifetime changed in an instant. The early days, shock, shame, silence. In the hospital, Lila lay in a bed that felt both too big and too small. She could no longer walk, couldn't dance like she once did, couldn't run across the field with Usman or climb the mango tree behind their home. Her voice shook when she tried to say it's okay, but it wasn't. Cameron tried to hide his fear. He became both father and mother overnight, dressing her, making her meals, helping her bathe. Usman, only 12, oscillated between being protective and resenting the way everything shifted around Lila's needs. Their mother, Maria, had passed away years before. There was no one else. People visited at first. Neighbors brought food. Teachers sent flowers. But after a few weeks, the doorstep stayed empty. The phone stopped ringing. Kindness had a half-life. Their friends had other lives. And the community found other news to talk about. Lila felt invisible, not by cruelty, but by neglect. The struggle, pride versus acceptance. Lila hated being helped. She hated the wheelchair. She hated being pitted. In her bedroom, she practiced standing at the support bars, hoping, one day, she might try steps again. Physical therapy was painful, often discouraging. She cried sometimes, alone under the blankets, listening to her own breathing, trying not to think of what her life had been. Cameron tried everything: expensive doctors, alternative therapies, prayers. Usman tried too, bringing home schoolwork, reading stories, making jokes to get Lila to laugh. But Lila's inner voice whispered that everyone else was moving on, while she stayed stuck. She felt shame that she was now a burden to her dad, to her brother, to the people who still cared. A turning point, connection and courage. One afternoon, a volunteer from a local disabled rights organization visited. Her name was Farah. She had lost a leg in an accident years ago, but traveled everywhere in a modified van, worked, laughed, lived. She saw Lila. She saw the bitterness that was eating from the inside. Farah said, "You're not broken. Your body changed, but your worth never did." taught Lila stories of others who had built art, music, careers, love, friendship, even from wheelchairs. She showed her accessible sports, painting with mouth and brush,